So this is a distilled that is about the ISC. I do have a cheat sheet, but this is the first time I'm watching it, I promise. So that's about it. I'd like to give a little shout out here to r/Star Citizen. Your subreddit's great for different things, and in this case, this little cheat sheet is what I'm reading off of to get prepped for this, not what I'm reading off of during the video. So let's watch this together.
Right now, we're in the process of improving Xenothreat.
Actually, this is quality's a little low.
One of the reasons we want to do this event again is because
there we go.
Known our community.
Now you can see the Hornets in the full
they need
thing here, and
chance to
Hammerheads.
play together, and that's what we tried to do with this.
Dynamic events are things that draw people into the game. They could be large, they could be small. It's also useful for testing core systems like the law system, spawn timers, the cargo system, ship-to-ship communication, your HUD UI. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
The remaster of the Xenothreat event has so many improvements based on the feedback from the last event.
I hope that it keeps
a kind of
the
reaction
funding
to
where
the
people
way
could get
the
paid at
phases,
least a
as we
base
call
pay
them,
just for
the
being there and
resupply
taking
phase
part
and
in
the
some
showdown
way.
phase.
Which was
I thought the
previously
performance
broken
indicators was
into
not that
two
great.
pieces.
You were ramping
I
up to a
love
big
that
fight,
tractor beam
and
tech.
then it just repeated.
Snuck in a little
the
handheld
resupply,
tractor
and then
beam
you
tech right there.
moved to showdown, and it was just a big fight, and it was a big fight for days on end.
What you'll get now is that basically you are resupplying the javelin that will then take you to the battle. And should you do a really bad job of keeping its health up, what you'll end up with is a smoking javelin on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the major...
I'm curious how they're going to handle
let's say the
supplies.
headline
In the
change to
past, in
event
the first
itself.
iteration, there was
But
people kind of gaming
made
the system
so
to
many
steal
other
other people's
fixes.
stuff, like waiting
We
for them to
have
fill up their
made
ship and then trying to steal the
changes
ship or getting
to
credit
the
for it,
hostility system.
or
The
trolling
AI
people
would
by like
remember
putting a
you've done
box on
something bad to
theirs
them,
that was
even if
yours,
they
and then
were
they get
busy,
credit.
say
They
the
get
javelin was
they
busy
get a crime
fighting
stat
Xenothreat.
for stealing,
It
quote
could be
end
like
quote.
15 minutes, half an hour later, that it remembers, you know, that you're someone who shot it and starts attacking you, and you have no idea why. Now we've put this decay in, what it means is if you do go above a friendly fire threshold, you will turn hostile. But that the length of time you'll remain hostile will depend on how many times you did you sustain fire on them.
It's very fair.
We've also
I'm glad they're going with a system
massively
like that.
Reworked the way friendly fire works, because previously there was just one set of friendly fire for
Just wanted to
every
mention,
game.
they said in a
Now
previous
it's
iteration
split
event
into AI, which we're much more lenient
that
with,
the
and players,
the
which we
turret
obviously have to be a lot less
gameplay
lenient with.
that the NPCs have, like us getting
One of the
shot by the
other ways
turrets,
we'll be improving
they did away with
Xenothreat
focus
is,
fire
with new
because
dialogue.
internal testing
We
showed that it
had
wasn't as
players
fun
who
to be just
weren't
lit
quite
up
sure
by this
what they
massive
had to
capital
do
ship and
from
like nearly
moment to
insta-popped.
moment.
So if you've ever
The
been
game is
near
so
these
deep, but
Idrises
maybe
and
people aren't
Javelins that are
understanding that,
NPCs,
like, it's the first time we've
keep
done
in
it,
mind
but
that some of the
scan these
reason
wrecks
you're
and you
not
can see
going to
that
be
there
instantly
are
killed
still
is not
cargo
because the
aboard,
ship is weak
and that
or
there
the
are
the
enemies
NPCs are
aboard.
terrible
Before you even
shots.
go on,
Maybe
'cause
they
that was
are.
one of the big complaints,
But
like,
a
they
lot of
get
the
to a
fire
point
that you're
where
getting
it's
hit
empty.
with, you should be getting
So
hit with
there's
like
now
10,
dialogue
12
lines reminding
times
you
that amount of
can
fire
scan
all at
these
once.
things before you're even
But to
anywhere
make it
near them.
fair for the player,
One
they
of
did
the
away
main,
with that.
like criticisms we got was that there were no rewards.
We're now going to be giving rewards based on reputation, because we've added reputation to Xenothreat.
With the
Really cool that they added
addition of
reputation. I'd like to
reputation,
see how that
we're
mechanic
able
kind
to
of works
start
out.
using that to build reputation with the CDF, the Civilian Defense Force, and like the more missions you do, or the better you do within missions with these in these events, the higher you'll go up through the stand-ins with them. And depending on what stand-in you're at when the event ends, you'll get various different rewards.
So we're really looking forward to having the event work alongside all of the new systems we have coming online, plus all of the things we've added to the event itself. So we have, alongside, we're going to have the capacitors. We've got new
Capacitors are
scanning
coming
and
online
pinging.
already. Very cool.
It's not just an event.
And
it's
pinging
not just
tech.
a weak
Okay.
event that we then throw away or anything like that. We have continued to work not to improve Xenothreat, but to improve the next fleet battle.
I hope that they keep rotating these in and out. Over
So
and
our
over
next
again, I've heard
dynamic
from
event
people
is
that
going
said,
to
oh, I
be
wish I was here for
Ninetails
that. Oh, I
Lockdown.
was busy that week with
In
work
Ninetails
or
Lockdown,
school.
the Ninetails
And I didn't get a
criminal
chance to get
gang is
on.
going to lock down a space station under the control of Crusader security, and both sides will then recruit players to help them to either end or continue the lockdown. That's actually going to allow us to do some really interesting stuff with combining PvP and PvE content and seeing how you all kind of interact with each other and honestly fight against each other. In
We know what
more
PvE and
controlled
PvP
ring.
mean. Come on, guys.
Ninetails basically breaks down into 4 phases.
Give
In
the
first
community a little
phase,
more
which we
credit
call
than that.
Prologue, we're basically trying to get players online and let them know that something is about to happen. Eventually, after Phase 1 has been running for long enough, it kicks into Phase 2. In Phase 2, Crusader is aware that something is causing a quantum blockade around a station, and is making it so that it is quite dangerous and time-consuming to get to and from that station. They recruit players to protect ships that they will send out to scan for whatever is causing that quantum blockade. However, on the other side of things, Ninetails is going to be recruiting to have players go and destroy those ships, and seeing those two sides kind of collide with each other is where we're hoping to get a lot of the interesting gameplay in that stage.
I hope that they're not going to use tiny little
We've
ships.
seen some
I hope
really
it's not going to be a
interesting
Cutlass v
stuff
Freelancer
in,
or something like
Phase
that.
2,
It's
just
going to be
from
difficult to
player
defend
tactics
those
and
scanning
such that have
ships
been
from the
very
pirates.
enjoyable to watch. For some of our QA testing, actually, they employed at one point,
You know,
because
heck, if
the
you're gonna use
scanning
something
ships were
small,
somewhat
a Valkyrie
fragile,
would be a nice
hammerhead
touch.
is almost a shield wall, physically blocking missiles and fire against those scanning ships and deploying chaff and such in order to reroute
that's
the
not.
missiles.
Unless the
Which
armor
made
rework is in
for
the game,
some
it's a little
very
difficult.
Interesting tactical discussions right
The
before
Hammerhead
the
doesn't have a.
test for that day.
It's a little
We're
weak
hoping
right
that
now. I mean, a
players
single
will begin to develop
enemy
similar
player could
strategies in
knock
order
out a
to
Hammerhead
counter
pretty
each other
quick
in
if they're
this
using
more sandbox style
a meme
PvP.
build, so to speak.
As for phases
Certain
3 and
guns are
4,
a
I'd
little
love to
OP
give you
right
more
now, and
detail,
they can
but,
pen
Jared won't let me.
through the
We
large
wanna leave some
Hammerhead
things
because
for
the
you guys
armor
to
isn't
discover, and there are
isn't in
little
the game
pieces
yet
of
correctly.
content
The hull
scattered
isn't in
throughout
the
the
game
event
correctly.
that aren't
So the
going to
small
be
guns
explicitly
with
handed
just
to you or
ridiculous
told to you
DPS
in a mission description
can still
that
do
I'm
damage to
really
Hammerheads
excited
currently,
to
which
see
they
you guys
won't
discover
soon.
as you're playing through this over
I
and
hope
over.
they iterate those changes with
It is a
this
smaller
to
event.
make it
It is only
more
going to last for about 3 to
live,
4
I
hours,
guess,
most
more
likely,
practical.
be completed over the
Especially
course
if
of an
you're a
afternoon,
Hammerhead
and it is
with
the first of many events that we're hoping to kind
maybe
of
even
build
4 or
into
5
a
players on
stable
board.
of these smaller events
You
that
need
we
a stable
can
server,
face that this weekend
and
is
you need to
that
have
one,
it where
and
the
next
armor
weekend is the
works
next,
like it
just to
should.
keep players coming back
A
to the
Hammerhead
game.
should take a lot of damage to take down, and it should require the
Ninetails
correct ships to
Lockdown
take
is
down.
slated for release with 3.14. We hope to run it several times throughout the course of that patch and in future patches as well.
Glad.
We're really excited to
Good
see you
call,
guys
Ben.
play it. We're excited to see which side you pick, be it Crusader or Ninetails. And coming up next,
I like that they give
Jumptown
the
2.
players the choice,
Keep an eye out for that.
and it's not just an on-the-rails experience. You know, players on both sides is definitely going to
Perhaps
change
one of
the strategies
biggest
and the
additions
meta
to the
of
Star
it.
Citizen universe this year
Be prepared for
has been the
spies, I
inclusion
bet,
of our
by the
new
way,
dynamic event system,
to get an idea
where
of what the
teams are
enemy team
continuing
is,
to
so to
work
speak, doing,
improving old
or
returning
what their
favorites,
fleet
as
composition
well as
is.
developing new adventures
Well, like you'd
alike.
see in EVE Online.
And yeah, we're going to talk about Jumptown 2 when the time is right. Don't you doubt it. But before that and up next, it's sprint report time. So
I
let's
can't
get to
wait
it.
for Jumptown. I
Let's start things off
really
by
enjoyed
jumping back into the
Jumptown. I'll
world
be
of
honest, it
brand
wasn't that
recognition and
dangerous to
logo
me. I don't know, maybe it was because I
with this
roll with a
review
lot of
several new
couple org
corporations
mates and
making their way
friends
into the
most of the
persistent
time.
universe alongside
Cousin Crows,
related
they're the guys who did the
legislation.
Kraken Privateer.
Like Eclipse Mutual, the high-end personal health insurance designed to allow for a wide range of features covering everything from the number
That's
of
getting ready
times you
for
can
us in
phone
general
to a
health
robust
and other
choice of
hospital
replacement plans,
locations, I
and all the way
suspect.
down to preferred
At
hospitals, to maybe
there we
even
go.
waking up in your own hab. And for those who want to know more, be sure you tune in next quarter ahead of Player Healing's scheduled release.
It hit me in the feels a little bit when he said the words
There
next
was also
quarter.
a push on further developing the Tax Collection Bureau, a branch of the UEE government in charge of tax legislation, accumulation, and regulation.
This is why we can't have
But
nice
don't
things.
worry if you can't pay. The UEE is always looking for volunteer service as a means of squaring your debt to the Emperor. Now, at review time, it was decided option 4 was most in line with existing UEE branding and will proceed further into development. Then we've got Cousin Crows, which specializes in customizing ships with paint jobs.
I
and
love
special
that first logo.
modifications, as well
I
as
don't like the
crew
Dunkin'
uniforms
Donuts knockoff
and
in the center.
accessories to deck your ship out with.
one on the
Now,
left
some
is
of
kind of
you
cool.
will no doubt recognize Cousin Crows as the group responsible for the original Kraken modification. But this logo
It's
is
like
in
a
the
600i
pipeline this
front, I
time
think.
for all the other things that
Okay.
we just mentioned. And at
I'd love
review,
to see them do
thinking
more
was that we
ships,
go with
especially,
option
and
number one.
600i desperately needs more work.
Moving along to VFX news, the team has been working on an update to the thruster dust system that converts the existing particles from a radial effect to a new directional one that's actually based on the thruster direction to any surface normal that it may be hitting at any given moment. Now what you're seeing here is the effect changing not only by the raycast angle
The
being
thrusters changing
perpendicular or
directions.
parallel to the surface, but also by the strength of the thruster output, and soon by the type of the
It's going to sound crazy, but I wish we had that capability to see
wireframe.
wireframe.
Now, as they
What
continue to
the
push this
thrusters
tech
are
towards
doing.
its gold
That'd be
standard,
great for
this means
troubleshooting
the
thruster
overall effect
issues.
will be far more
Like
accurate
I would
than
love
what
to see like a
players
handheld
expect.
mechanical
It is
thing, like
one
you
more
a
way
mechanical team
systemic
could pull out a
systems are
multi-tool,
used to
and it
operate
has like an
Star Citizen
optic
universe
that allows you
at
to see
every
the thrusters,
opportunity.
like maybe like a heat signature or something
other
coming out of the
VFX
thrusters,
news,
which
let's
direction it's
return to
coming
the
out,
current
and you could
progress of
troubleshoot like the
shipboard fire
damaged
in the
thrusters,
verse.
which one's
Oh,
damaged,
I
and then go over and
missed
repair
you.
it.
With this
quickly.
look at directionality and how
That'd
it
be
can
really
help
cool.
inform the player about things like the spread or how it's being affected by the universe around it. Now in this sprint, the team was looking into adding
I feel like we're back in
dynamics and
Unity and
interactability
testing
to both
animations.
fire
Why won't they
and
work in
smoke,
VR chat
allowing
worlds?
it to be impacted by the various forces that may occur within a ship. What you're seeing here is a vector field being used to bend the fire in the direction of whatever force we want to apply. Here, switching
It's neat.
between a
It's
simple
neat.
radial force that comes out from the middle
More work is good in this
to a
field.
more spiral force, and then back again. Now the idea for these vector fields is to be spawnable from the particle system itself, making anything from fire extinguishers to full-scale room decompression act upon the flames in a realistic and expected way. We also have this brief look at signed distance fields being used to direct the venting of flames and smoke throughout the hull of the
SDF
ship.
tech was used in the shield
And speaking of
technology.
ships, work has begun
Heck,
on
as
revisions
early
to
as
the
last
Aegis
year.
Retaliator,
So it's
bringing it up
interesting
to
to be able to
gold
move it
standard,
into new
including
technology
changes to the
for
internal
smoke
metrics needed
internals
for
and such.
Successful NPC
Very cool.
traversal, moving the docking collar, adjusting the lift dimensions.
Oh, that is
and
most
more.
welcome.
Work
I can remember
also
docking
continues
collars
on
only
the
being on the
Aegis
top and bottom of the
Redeemer gray
Retaliator,
box interior.
and when you
With these
open,
books
when
of
your
the
pilot
remote
opens all
turret bay,
externals, you just slip through the entire
Further
thing, and you
changes
don't.
to the
You literally
habitation section.
end up from the top to the bottom of the ship and get stuck back outside. I'm glad they moved the docking collar for many reasons. It was never practical. That's a beautiful
and
Redeemer
development
shot.
of the internal machinery that keeps this floating
That ship's going to be really
gunship
something to
up in the air.
watch. I've heard a lot of people throwing around the nickname Mini Hammerhead. That's pretty reasonable for the
We also
size
have
of guns
this look
on
at
board the top and the
continuing
bottom.
gray box progress of the Ares Starfighter from Crusader Industries, a ship that's coming together rather quickly based on all the previous work completed for the Mercury and the
This is
Hercules.
ship that's going to be shooting in straight lines.
Next up, with work on
I-
converting all flyable ships,
I'm going to reserve
canvas
my
sliced
thoughts
out in
until the
314
ship is
continuing,
more
designers and
fleshed out
artists have
and we hear
begun
exactly how much
concepting out
ammunition it has in its
additional
capacity for the Inferno
manufacturer-based
and
heads-up
how
displays
much
like
additional
this proposal
shields the
for
Ion
Drake
has.
interplanetary ships.
We'll see.
Seen here in several color variations. Now we're still pulling together other proposed layouts and color schemes, but it's another exciting step forward in diversifying the flight experience of our spacecraft, made possible by our UI tech team. Tomorrow on Star Citizen Live, we'll have Dan Truffin and members of the EU Persistent Universe feature team on the show to answer questions about their work. And one of the new aspects they're currently working on is loot generation, seen here in testing on Korea Station. Now we'll talk more about how it works, what can be found inside, and how it interacts
It's interesting.
with the upcoming advances to player inventory tomorrow.
But-
so check that out.
I hope they really flesh out the entire chain. And what I mean by that is, loot should not be something
And
as a
wrapping
mission
things up
item
this
you
week
get
with
in a
weapons of
contract,
environment
you go out to grab
we
it,
have
and then you
this
come
look
back
at
and give it back to the
potential
NPC.
crop placement
It should be
overlays
something that's
for the
way
exteriors of
wider
colonial
reaching,
outposts.
and it should be sellable in many different places. Different vendors, black market vendors, at
An
a
early
loss.
look at
Maybe
white
there's
box
police that
progress
notice
at the
that type of
hospital being
thing.
built out
There
with
should be like
Grimbox.
a whole fleshed out system. Everything from the shadiest pawn shop all the way up to
As well
a
as
high
white box
end
progress on the
place
smaller
that
clinics
collects
that will
vintage
populate
equipment
several
from
of the
different
various
ships
space
that are hard to
stations
come
found
by
throughout
and
the
they fix
Stanton
up or
system.
something. Crow's Customs maybe even. There should be different places, And that would certainly add a lot of dynamic gameplay. Trying to figure out where this
lastly, a
goes,
look at
value it,
continuing
negotiate
lightning
that price to
tasks going on
sell.
throughout Horizon, the upcoming landing zone for the gas giant Crusader.
Very cool stuff. I've been saying over and over again, Orison needs to allow Javelins and Hull Ds and Hull Es to be able to
Now,
dock
we'll be
to
talking
really
more
make
about
it stand out.
everything that goes into bringing
Orison,
to life.
Crusader
From
has the
to
Jupiter,
VFX,
which is a
the
massive
NPC
capital ship in the
costumes,
lore.
the signage, and the
If they can use that
iconography,
there,
and
then
even the
maybe there's
music
some hope.
next week
So
in our
I
quarterly
sincerely
season
hope
finale. So stay tuned for that.
that the Crusader
So what
folks
did we learn this week?
allow these larger
Well, we
ships to
learned
be able
that
to dock.
dynamic
It's an
events
upper
are not
atmosphere
only a
above a place that
fantastic
does
way
not have
to
ground.
add activity and
Because of this
conflict
unique
to the
atmosphere,
players in the
it
persistent
is
universe.
entirely
They can
possible
also
that
move
massive,
story
massive
and
capital
features
ships that are
forward for
only supposed to be
development,
outside of
and
Atmo
provide much
can
needed
dock
and
at Orison.
essential testing
And that would
opportunities
suddenly make
that
it
may
the
not
ultimate
arise as
place for
frequently on their
organizations
own. That
in
they
the entire
come in
world.
all shapes and sizes, from both weeks long to a simple afternoon.
Some of the best places in the verse to stage a large organization.
The persistent universe as a whole persist long after the events themselves conclude. Now be sure you keep an eye out for the results of all the various Alien Week festivities that have been going on, and remember that Digital CitizenCon is on its way at the end of next quarter. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee.
Can't
See
wait
you
for
all
Digital
next
Citizen Con. I'm glad to see it coming back. I know it's a big burden on all the different development teams in all their different locations around the world, but it's still a very welcome thing to see them pulled together. So, well, I think Jared's what did we learn this week left a lot more things on the table. What is the Digital Citizen Con going to focus on? There's a few different things on the roadmap that we don't know about yet. They're basically, they won't say what they are, but there's massive amounts of folks, dozens of teams on some of these different things, and we don't know what the name of it is. So it's not even speculation to think there will be surprises at CitizenCon. There always is, and I believe this year is no exception. I think when you look at some of these different systems and what they're working towards, I would not be surprised if the devil is definitely in the details when you look at the roadmap. It goes without saying, but do remember that the roadmap is subject to change constantly, and every single patch they have to pull things or add things as they're available. So this is something that's a long slog to try to sort through these things. But in general, what we like to talk about is a lot of the ships, player outpost. I think 1.0, or tier 0, whatever term they end up using, I think will be a major part of this. There'll be surprises in ships. There will be surprises in player outposts. And I would say that they're probably the two biggest things that I would be shocked if they don't have those things in. I think it's kind of interesting that the Aegis Idris team's deliverables are only one team, though, is working on something to do with the Idris, and it's expected at the beginning of July to be wrapped up. But this is Squadron 42 related. It isn't, although a lot of things that are Squadron 42 end up coming over to the PU. It's entirely plausible. It could be something as simple as, in this specific mission, we need somebody to look out a window, and that window doesn't look right, so we need to polish it. Or something as complicated as, we need the flight profile for when the player takes off to be looking like this and have a correct UI update for the UI that we're using on the PU side or something. This is something to look out for. This is something really, really valuable. The Aegis Retaliator Gold Standard Pass. The Tally is a very loved ship. I think I said in one of my previous videos, the Tally base is highly recommended because it's like in the 150 USD range, and there are modules that will be placeable, drop modules, torpedo bays, as you can expect, with size 9 torps, 4 in the front, 2 in the back. The drop module goes in the front. It has an unknown number of seats, but it can open the bomb bay doors and drop an entire crew out of it. Cargo and living quarters for the front and the back. Very exciting stuff, because the Retaliator is a offensive warship that a lot of ships will think twice about going anywhere near, and it's a fast in a straight line type of ship as well. Being able to suddenly drop a bunch of people instead of drop torps, or both, you could drop torps out of the back, the 2 torps, and then drop a bunch of people, is very valuable. Being able to run cargo in something that people might think twice about even tangling with, very valuable. Its turrets are a little underrated, but let's see what the Gold Standard Pass does. You saw some of the previews today in the video, showing the docking collars be brought in the right places, showing that some of the doors are now AI friendly, etc., etc. We'll see how far it goes as these things come online. Not surprised about AI needing planetary navigation, turret gunning, unarmed combat. But it's very easy to get trapped in this circumstance, like of looking through these and thinking, oh, this is amazing. Here's another example, Area 18 Hospital. Like we talked about, the hospital in Orison General Health is one they've focused on recently. Area 18 has had a hospital since the beginning, but no one can get in it. So probably the interior was never done. It's still being worked on, like in the roadmap here. It's a long-term thing. If you look, they're expecting at the end of the year to ideally have the Area 18 hospital interior at least set up. Maybe not accessible yet, but set up. It's probably not a coincidence that they've had in ISC today talk of ironing out what the medical insurance is going to look like. You know, the labels and such. And we've heard a lot of things about the health guns. We saw previews of the health gun that you can fire. Will take your med pens and you can fire into a teammate or yourself. That's not a coincidence. That's all coming online. They want to have multiple tiers of medical gameplay, with the hospitals and the Hope Class Endeavor being the highest levels of hospital treatment, and other capital ships that support such a thing, where you have a respawnable medbed and can take the most serious injuries. So that also means that you will have a small increase in costs if they decide to start rolling that out, where you'll have to buy health insurance to have higher levels health insurance. I think that'll be long term. Do not panic, because currently, if you get stuck somewhere, the best thing to do is backspace, and then you respawn in your bed wherever you were at last, whatever station or city you were in. So I think that's nice to have that health system to flesh out. But honestly, I see it more as the NPCs tied in and having that medical system online, but it probably won't be in service. Here's another crowd favorite. I'm not going to go through the entire system, but I'm just going to try to hit on certain things that we're probably going to see long term. The Bennu Merchantman. This is one that I wouldn't be surprised if they... I might catch heck for saying this, but I would love to be surprised at like a rollout of this type of ship at like a CitizenCon, or in this case, the digital CitizenCon. But I doubt it will happen, but it would be nice. And then you have all your Squadron 42. All these chapters are the Squadron 42 missions. They're still being worked on. Here's all your Crusader stuff. So what he alluded to was the Ion and the Inferno, which next week they're going to be working on releasing more information on. This is another example of much more practical than the Bennu Merchantman. But these might be something they could roll out for Digital CitizenCon. You can even see Q3 2021. They're aiming for the middle of September to roll them out. The A2 is another example. They already have the other series is out for the Hercules Starlifter. So these are examples of ships these are easy wins. A lot of people want to see these ships come online, and these ships will be very valuable for planet-side work, planet-side outpost work, and moon-side outpost work. For varying reasons. I am not going to pass judgment on the Inferno and the Ion. My viewpoints on these ships are controversial, and I think everyone's are basically kind of just based on limited information we have for good or bad, and that's not really a healthy way to handle this. Once we get more information on how these ships will be balanced, I'll be sure to weigh in on them, and I'll love to do like a double video where it handles the Inferno and the Ion. I may need some help on that video, though, because I don't own either one of those ships. Might need to borrow somebody's. But rest assured, I'll make it work. People have been really, really kind to me in the game, being able to let me play with new ships that I don't have. I do have plenty of ships, but I don't have every single ship in the game, and I'm not that I do not have that kind of money. This is one that's exciting to me. It's a shame it's going to take a while. It's for where we worked on. I can remember the Grey Cat when it was $5, and it was a hangar toy basically to get you to drive between all your ships. Before the PU even existed, the hangar was a way to you spawned in your ship at these blue hardpoints on the ground, and you chose from 4 different types of hangars. And the bigger hangars, like the Revel in York and the Aeroview, allowed you to spawn multiple ships. So it would actually take you a while to walk around your hangar. And so the Grey Cat PTV was born. You paid $5, and you bought this little guy, and it's been pretty buggy. It is not the best little golf cart anymore, but I still love it. It has a soft spot in my heart for it. And I'll love to see what it does after the gold standard. I would love for you to be able to jump in the seat, and if it detects a driver, it instantly turns on the cart, and you just literally, by the time you're like sitting in the seat, if you hold W, it'll start driving. I think I would love for it to be able to turn its headlights on and off. This is kind of dreaming now, but I would love a single or double weapon rack on the back of the cart. I think those 3 things, or tool rack, you know, you do either or it could do. That would be really swell. I can dream, but I would love to see that. The team that is planned out to work on that, please be awesome and make it cool. So tractor tools, I kind of completely skipped over something really important. Tractor beams are going to be one of the most valuable tools in the game and the biggest troll items in the game. Beware of people with tractor beams, both on their person and on their ship, as that comes online, because that will be a thing. Don't forget. So I think the industrial salvage tools are great too. I can't pass judgment. We don't know anything about them yet, but I'm glad to see that once again they're going to be salvage items that are small, medium, and large. So handhelds are very welcome. Yeah. Heat suit is nice touch. There is some environments that are too hot or too cold. Once again, this is showing that they're getting ready to roll out hospitals on a larger scale. Doctors' uniforms, hospital medical kits. Illegal good dealer. This is something I just said was a good idea. Roaming vendor AI with a goods dealer deals in illegal products. So this is something that needs to flesh out the economy. Tony Z has done amazing things, and he is commenting on the systems with the Quanta and having this push-pull mechanic with NPCs doing different things based on how they think and what's valuable at the moment and how dangerous things are. That's all great, and how legit they are or not legit, but we need more in-your-face different items, different methods to interface with the economy for the player's perspective. So an illegal goods dealer is once again one more step in that direction. If I find something on the ground off of a body, I should have to make a decision of, hey, do I keep this amazing piece of equipment for myself and make money off of it, or do I return this to their loved ones or something, or something in between? Do I hand this to the police so that can help investigate what happened to this person? Like, that creates such a different environment. And if I keep it for myself and then go to sell it, do I get caught? Or maybe if I don't keep it, maybe if I don't sell it, it has less of a hot chance of having a profile of me becoming a criminal. And that kind of dictates my character. Maybe other NPCs who see that item will realize, oh yeah, that's not yours. That clearly has the etchings of somebody who worked in this company, and you're not from that company, and then they don't trust you as much. See how all these different dynamics happen when loot is spawned and handled in the right way. And, that has a big emotional impact, I think. Or if you make it a nice thing, if you take down a bad guy, you arrest him, this bad NPC or something. We'll call him Bobby Rick, the evil Bobby Rick of of Delmar. And you manage to hunt down Bobby Rick in his cave, and you find him, and you say stop, or I'll beat you up or something, and you take him into custody. And Bobby Rick had this really cool pistol, and you hang on to it. That's another example. And now you have like that. They have a cool memory with you and your friends, and you have something that's a true collectible. I think that's an example of like how these things can kind of play out and create their own stories just around items. Kind of like History Channel's American Pickers always talks about. Every item has a story, right? Jump point tech. Glad to see it. Jump point spacescaping. I don't know what that is. Jump modules. I like to see that. Initial steps to determine the look and variety of jump modules. And then do note, though, there is multiple teams working on jump points, and it ain't going to be even a chance of it being rolled out, even conceptually, until Q1 2022, February. So they may have a jump module sitting in the game files or something, or even sitting in the stores in the game, but it won't be usable until Q1 2022. I'm glad that they're talking about this and having that discussion, because the larger ships that have to fit these things will suddenly have to make decisions about, hey, where do we pack this item into the system, and what does this module look like in the grand scheme of things, and power grid supply usage, capacitor usage, now that we're talking about capacitors. Very cool. Lava tech. Probably not a coincidence heat suits are being developed now. Here, once again, hospital locations. I don't know why they'd be working on Levski unless Levski was going to be rolled out. I'm pretty sure Levski was taken out of the chain because server requirements. So the server was completely being overworked with all the different items, and to make room for the original Xenothreat, and they pulled out Levski. That was what I heard. So I'm kind of surprised they're working on Levski again. Feel free to beat me up in the comments, but I'm pretty sure that's what the deal is, and I'm surprised that they're talking about Levski by March 2022. Sure, just a random thought. Maybe they're expecting to roll out more than just Pyro by Q1 2022. That's speculation on my part, but I don't know why you'd want to dedicate a team to work on it if you weren't going to roll it out anytime soon. If it wasn't going to be in the next year or two, or maybe it's next year. Life support, login flow, long distance probing. This is actually something really cool. Once again, going back to Eve, being able to probe out different ships, find them in the deep depths of space, and this will help make stealth ships actually rewarding to play, because they can sneak around and not have to worry about this as much. And also add that count and mass game that many players seek out and enjoy. Being able to detect extreme ranges far beyond ship scanners. Signatures can also be points of interest, and planned quantum travel. Very cool. Add more gameplay, and also support planning out different waypoints that might be unique waypoints that are less busy. So it's not just for people trying to fight each other or hide from each other, but it may also be something useful for just transiting a system in a safer manner. So more power to it. I could see this is actually something really cool too. I could see people that are escorting or scouting for a a big convoy, maybe 3 Hercules or something, and being able to pull this together. Find them a waypoint in the middle of the system that's not like warping to the station or warping to a specific planet that's always heavily camped. Finding a varying point of interest that's maybe only spawns once in a while or something. So right here, dynamically populated randomized loot. Cool. That's exactly what we need right now. Lootable items, their contents, and how they can be accessed / broken into. So they're going to add in hacking mini games, it looks like, and maybe lockpicking or something like that for the Fallout people amongst us. That's something I think here. So they just want to add it in this one, and then they want to add the possible mini games and alarm systems to beat and whatever else. I'm speculating, but that's basically what we're seeing here. Very cool. Very cool. So again, hospitals, they're going to become a big part of the game. It's that simple. There's one for Lorville. Multifunction display readouts going to be fixed. Map system and radar. This is badly needed. Right now, this system is very... This system is badly implemented on a lot of ships, unfortunately. It's just the UI in general is difficult to see what the heck's going on and where things are. Most of the time when I'm fighting, I'm I'm tabbing through the available targets using F4 and then free looking around a lot of times and then going back in to actually fight. I would love to actually be able to use Paradar properly. I would love to be able to look at the map and not have to like scroll wheel back and forth to get an idea of where I'm at. Please, 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 any of this. Heck, put 15 teams on this, not just 2. Remove each bullet and refill their own magazines manually or via a bullet reloader. Compatible with ballistic ammunition. Found weapons of their ammunition. Very cool. Being able to pull ammo out of a weapon magazine that you find, or being able to reload a magazine is realized instead of having to buy it at the store in increments. So let's say it's a 30-round magazine and a gun. You have to buy the entire 30-round mag. In this case, if you find a couple bullets of that, or you find a half-finished magazine, let's say you fought an NPC, the NPC died, or you arrested them or something, and they had 15 rounds still in the magazine, it's saying that you can strip out those 15 rounds, combine them with what you had left, and then you can build yourself a full mag and continue on with your mission. That is very cool. Once again, fleshing out the loot, fleshing out how you handle items is going to make a big difference. There's a crowd pleaser right here. The hull A, the hull B, the hull C. And these are further out, so I'm not going to really comment on them too much. They're going to start next year, working on the D and the E for something. Building, implementing, cargo hauler. Building, implementing, and balancing the cargo hauler. But these are only one team. Like, it's just shocking to me. But, okay. So they're just starting to work on the hull A. The B, they're not going to start for a while. I'm guessing they're going to take a lot of the elements they learned from the A and put it on the B. Speculation. Looks like they've been working on the C for a long time. This is something that people have been upset that they pushed back a few times. Looks like the release date for this is scheduled for 3.16. So that could be bumped forward or back. The C is supposed to be one of the most popular ships in the game. They said for NPCs it'll be like the ship, basically. Many ships will be this hull C class. And there's even like a pirate version or something, if I remember right, back from the old lore. So it's an interesting ship. There's a lot more modularity to these ships, at least in the original concepts, especially for the CDE. Some of the things they could add to them, like they even talked about like flak guns and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. I think they've pushed to kind of slim down modularity into a simpler system has been too strong for that to really matter. Cool. Glad to see all these different teams working together on different things. Missile operator mode. I'm glad to see that. Right now the ballista's pretty broken. So they have not 3.15. So they haven't released the Moab yet. I think that's pretty telling that they're pushing bomb tech. I saw that they pushed the bombs back along with space mines from 3.14 to 3.15. So I don't think that's a coincidence. It's a speculation, but it is probably not that unlikely to see 3.15 be the release of the A2, regardless of whatever it's set above. If they're going to have the bombs in the game, that was one of the biggest things holding back the bomb tech from releasing the A2. And also, that would mean that the A2 is something that would be really good to see for planetary outpost iterations. Or not, depending on if you're seeing it roll above you when you're on the ground. Glad to see mops and buckets. Very cool. Once again, we need a living world. We need all these different things. Planets to compute. Might as well just finish this list while I'm at it. If you've been with me this far, thank you for sticking around. I think that if you find value in this, please put in the comments that you like these type of live videos where I do not distill the information. We kind of learn it together. This is something that I enjoy doing, but at the same time, I want to work on what I think everybody wants. So if you like these type of videos, please let me know. I'll do more of them versus the distilled, which is more condensed information across taking large amounts of information like this, and I would have turned this into maybe a 10-minute video, but you would have missed a lot of different discussion points and a lot of thoughts about the upcoming patch that we're starting to see. This is very exciting. Sorry, I said it with a sigh at the beginning or whatever that was. But the Nick system, planet, and mission setups are coming along nicely, and they're literally ending the end of this month. I am glad to see that this is coming along. I do not think it's a coincidence that Levski's hospital is being worked on. I think that we're going to see the entire pocket around Stanton vastly expanded very quickly over 2022. I think that 2022 is going to be the year to see Pyro and Nyx and the entire pocket start expanding into multiple systems based on what we're seeing here and based on what their focuses are on developing these areas. Hey, I'm an optimist. Take that what you will. I think the 600i gold standard is, putting it mildly. Morphologist did a great rundown of the 600i. I'm not going to link it. Sorry for sounding like a little snooty about this, but I think anybody who's seen that video knows what I'm talking about. If you look up Morphologist 600i, how he can fix it, I think it was called, and he did an excellent stream that he brought into a YouTube video where him and his significant other both worked on the project and kind of showed what the 600i touring module, because there's two modules in the 600i. You have the touring module, you have the explorer module. And the touring is the one people pick on the most because there's so much dead space, like more even than what you'd need for luxury. And it's just not a great ship. It's at the moment. And it's a shame. It has a lot of forward firepower. I believe a serious amount of forward firepower for what it is. And it has a nice little bay on the bottom for a ground vehicle. It has on the Explorer model an area for like armored suits and crazy or at least heavy armor as weapons and locker area. It has a bar in the back. The bar's a little weird. It's got a window underneath the bartender area. I'm not going to say any more than that, but it's a little weird. And it has a really nice breakfast nook underneath all of that different stuff. And it has good access to the engineering areas directly off of there. The crew quarters are bizarre. They're all open air where you walk in and it feels like you're in like a freezer, essentially, with like these alien looking walls to it, where there's these little nooks on the sides. I do not understand the position the 600i has in the lineup. I get where it's supposed to be going, but it's almost like for the touring model, you might as well went to the 890 jump. It's not a cheap ship, by the way. And for the Explorer model, I feel like it has a lot of potential, but it's just not quite there yet. It's just kind of all over the place. It feels like it has a lot of those luxury elements from the touring model kind of passed over into it because only the center module is different. It still has that back area that's just a bar and breakfast nook and all this weird stuff that on an Explorer model would be better used to have medical facilities, for example. And also on on the Explorer model, they have like this scanning room at the front, but on the back, it would be nice to have a very basic laboratory or heck, even a observation room or something really unique. Do a greenhouse. That would be really cool. The Endeavor has these massive greenhouses. They're going to have to roll it out anyway. But the top part has this beautiful giant window that shows the back of the ship and the rear turret for some reason it's focused on. Turn it into a greenhouse on the Explorer model. Then all of a sudden you have something truly unique. Put the medical facility underneath and put on the top a beautiful lush greenhouse area where you can bring alien plants into. And you don't have to roll out the technology immediately, but if people see good bones on a ship and they can still make use of most of the ship immediately, it would be a very nice thing. It's just my opinion. I don't know how to fix the touring module. Morphologist handled it beautifully, and the way he handled the flowing staircase, and there was a window on the bottom of on the touring module, and made it more usable for the crew, is nice. I've talked people's ear off about the 890 jump. I'll put it in the end card to the video about the 890 jump being a great capital trainer, especially with the upcoming armor, hull, and weapons changes, where small ships will not be able to just instantly blow up the 890 jump. When those changes happen, people will have a rude awakening, And the 890 jump will have its moment in the sun until ships like the Perseus and the Polaris show up in town. And then all of a sudden, 890 jump can't really hold a candle to them when it comes to weaponry. Or heck, the hangar system on the Polaris is really nice too. On top of its already incredible weaponry and medic. But the 890 jump has excellent medical. It's got the ground area where you can experimentally fit even the largest ground vehicles. It's got a hangar that can handle 2 extra smalls or a full-size small fighter. And it's got the, not just any medical, you respawn in it. And it's got the battle bridge, and it's got all the gun lockers all right next to each other on the same level. You can run back and forth quickly between all those things I just described. What the heck does the 600i have that can do any of those things at a smaller scale? That's really what it should be. But I digress. So I hope to see something good on this gold standard. I will heavily cover it. I am a big Origin fan. I love the 890. I love the 325A, the 315P, the 350R. But I don't think Origin's done amazing things on the 600s. A lot of Squadron potential. And also the Origin 100i series. I'm only a big fan of the 135, the 125. I think the base models are really not that best. They're really just a shuttle. And the Pisces kind of really, really outshines them in every way. With the extra SEO cargo, 3 seats on board, where 100 does not. The only nice thing about the 100 is being able to spawn it out of ground vehicle location. So you can go to any Platinum Bay on the ground and literally spawn. If you can spawn a ground vehicle at the ASOPs there, you can spawn the 100i series, which is nice. That's about it. I really don't see the use of it. Oh, and you can fit it in a Hercules, which is nice too. If you're very careful and you back it in, you can put it in a Hercules, which is kind of cool. Orison X mascot suit. This is already a meme. People are joking about that on the Spectrum. It's really cool. I'm glad to see that kind of stuff. Somebody already suggested we should be able to buy this and walk around with the floppy mascot suit on, like the whale, like the Origin whale mascot suit on, or at least a helmet. Orison V1, Orison V2, 3.14, 3.16. That's all you need to know. They are the rumor mill. The rumor mill is they're currently testing this literally in the next couple days. The testers are testing this right now. And it will be in 3.14. Nearly confirmed or already confirmed. By the time you see this video, you might be like, why is he vaguely saying that? But I try my best not to confirm any type of leaks or things that may or may not come from different sources. But that's what I'm hearing through the rumor mill. This will be in 3.14. And they're just trying to figure out what to do with it. At least that's the rumors I'm hearing. Improving Crusaders landing zones with more shops and expanding various services around the city. This is well and good, but once again, Orison must allow ships like the Javelin and the Hull D and E, the largest of the capital ships that are only supposed to go to space, to be able to dock. If it has that unique property to this extremely high atmosphere floating world, this place will become the new haven of all large organizations. Because being able to link those large ships with a large crew of organizational members is critical, and will turn them from only being able to consider space station operations as their main hubs to Orison being their main hub, because it has a full-size medical facility. It's got all the services of a massive city. Please, CIG, use your head, and please make it the hub for large super caps that the larger capital ships and industrial systems like the Hull D and E need. We need this to be what a place for those type of ships. This is something very exciting to me. So there's multiple different outpost styles. There's the colonial style. There is the one that basically looks like it's out of Star Wars Galaxies, kind of, sort of. But there's the two that I like because I remember them because I like them. But I'm glad to see that there's a lot of different things that it looks like that the teams from the prop team are going to be wrapping up. And I'm very excited to see how these modules are going to be implemented and brought in, basic necessities to support a small group of people for an indefinite amount of time. That's an interesting word, indefinite amount of time. I was assuming that there would need to be some type of fuel core put into these outposts to allow life support and that your bad guys could come along and like steal it, if you don't defend it, and then you walk in and there's no air. Maybe they thought of that and they thought, well, we don't want to risk that. So you don't want to wake up in like a t-shirt and from like not being playing for a week and your character's going, so, okay. And that might be the way they're going. Maybe just a turn of phrase, but indefinite amount of time for a small group of people. So maybe they're just limiting life support by the sheer amount of sheer amount of players and NPCs that are inside a building at any given time, and that the life support is more of just a fixture of it. Like so you build a room, and suddenly that room adds on the support for 4 more players, or NPCs. Like each room has its life support add-ons, and if you build them, then it's good to go for that many people, I guess. Adding themes, variants to colonial outposts. Once again, this is one of the styles. It's one of the better looking styles. Themes will range from abandoned mining research and many more. This is something that we desperately need. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but persistent hangars is going to be one of the first times that we truly see players being able to kind of run things themselves, their own persistent hangars. Bring about changes to the cargo gameplay loop by allowing players to pack their grids manually. And most importantly, being able to bring your friends into your persistent hangar. You can go tune your ships without having to worry about, like, you spawn the ship and then you have to rush out the door because the station master's all mad at you. Well, not anymore. I think persistent hangars is going to be one of the first things that you really kind of see is kind of like, this is like an environment I want to hang out in and spend time in. Being able to spawn your ships and then go tune them up and have some fun with them. Invite your friends over to come check out your gear without having to worry about somebody trying to pad jack your stuff or screw with yous. It's going to be valuable, immensely valuable. And I hope that they're going to bring a lot of the hangar trinkets back from the subscriber side of things and from the early days. That you can show off to your friends and decorate the place at will. And I think that'll bring a lot of people into the game that are into the RP and immersive elements more than just shooting at different things. The persistent hangars has a lot riding on it. And what it doesn't say here, unfortunately, is org hangars. Organizational hangars are going to be the next step past this. It doesn't look like they're going to be anytime soon, because this is already... Persistent hangars aren't going to be even talked about until... It's not even on a patch. It's Q1 2022 and the beginning of March. So just bear that in mind. But it is an exciting thing when this comes out. It will change a lot of things in the game. It doesn't seem like a lot, but this is something that's very important to get out the door. I think it's interesting that player outposts are going to be out possibly before persistent hangars are. But both are very valuable. Both are very exciting. I think that persistent streaming and server meshing are critical, goes without saying. These are directly attributed to why Pyro is taking so damn long to get released and why player caps are stuck currently. I got nothing else to say about that. I think it's great. They have a lot of teams on it, and it's going to be an ongoing option. I think this could all be filled out earlier, and they still would add more. I think don't sweat this date. I think this is a constant battle, and as they keep rolling out new innovations, they roll them out on the server. We've heard multiple times that they've rolled out different pieces of streaming and object container systems, and I think object culling is coming out soon, or at least they keep talking about it, where like if you're not looking at something, no one's looking at it. The system does not have to support it as an actual visual item. It's brought back to ones and zeros, and it's on a grid somewhere. It's on an Excel sheet somewhere. And then when somebody flies into that area, then it is rendered out and properly set up, and then the server has to worry about it in all the ways we expect. And that all has to be seamless, and with server meshing, being able to pull multiple servers, being able to switch between them at will, to make the experience relatively seamless. It is very exciting stuff. Personal inventory. This is something they've been working on for a while. If you've been using the backpacks while you're mining, or when you get the red envelopes or the Christmas present packages or whatever they were, when you can store like 60 of them in the back of your backpack and on your armor too, which each have their own armor capacity for stuff. This is what all this is about. More and more of these iterations. I like that they're also talking about containers, because if you look at the top floor of the Hercules, there is like it might be 24 containers on top of there, for like items, and everybody's like, that's wasted space. And I've been saying to people forever, that's the most amount I've ever seen of those type of container holders. Basically, these small areas down the center spine of the second floor, the top floor of the Hercs on the C2 and the M2 are going to be extremely valuable at some point, where you can literally fill a container up. To use that magazine example from earlier, take 12 magazines fully loaded and be able to put them into a container, and then shove that container into that storage area on the Herc or any of the other ships for that matter that have them, and be able to put that away. So you're not have to carry around like Rambo 50 different guns and ammunition. Or if you're a healer, be able to bring 45 med pens on an adventure and be able to put, okay, I'll put like 35 of them in these containers, and I'll carry 10 or something crazy like that. But that's because I'm the medic. Whatever your gameplay style is and whatever you're trying to do, extra mining crystals, or mining goods, if you're hand mining. These are all things that you might be able to work out with this new system. So I think the containers is the most exciting thing to me. And we back to the loot topic, being able to store loot and handle loot and be able to even buy the doll from in New Babbage, to buy the Microtech Pico, and then you have it sitting in your hand and you have nowhere to put it. Being able to store that away or be able to put that on like inside a container, or be able to put that on your ship somewhere would be really valuable and nice. Or say in your persistent hangar, start having a collection of all the bobbleheads and dolls and all the different, the whale, like, different memory tokens, from all these different places. Very cool. Physical and local inventory support. This is, once again, a lot of things that need to be done. You need to have more inventory controls and stuff doesn't keep disappearing, doesn't run away. Physical damage breakability is cool. Plants and organics, fleshing out the world is really nice. I don't think this is the most critical thing, but it is very important to immersion. So what I see is like, it might be something nice, might be somebody else's like, oh, that's my jam. I don't know what that means. There's moving player bodies. I think tooltips and interactions are good. I just hope that you can disable them, because what happens a lot of times, unfortunately, is that people turn around and unfortunately get stuck with it turned on, and then they get the same damn tooltip like 16 times. So it needs to be a smart tooltip. Like if you've already seen it once or twice, set it to. This is important, and this also tells us pretty telling of when Pyro is going to come. So. Mid-February. They're still working on the Pyro. I think it's very cool that they said the word stations. Stations. Not just Pyro Space Station. The Lost Station. Adding small rundown rest stop stations to the Pyro system, which provides basic services and use limited interiors. So we won't just have the Lost Station, where the pirates run, and it's actually a persistent habited station, but they're sneaking all these rest stops in that use limited interiors and provide basic services. That's going to be a key word. A lot of us, myself included, have said that Pyro being 17 AU wide, where Stanton is only 5 AU wide, is going to make a huge difference in gameplay. In particular, being able to fly it in a smaller ship. Fuel is going to be hypercritical. But if they have all these dang rest stops sneaking around, it will suddenly become just a risk-reward concept. Yes, I can risk going to a station now and refueling and being able to get around the system no problem, but I might get attacked by enemy NPCs or player pirates who are going to camp these things, or I can bring a fuel load like from a Starfarer and have a hidden spot where we log in the Starfarer alt and we all refuel off of it. So these are some of the possibilities once you start talking about having these stations. At least it gives the players options. Instead of Pyro being like you have to pack in and pack out every single thing, you have a choice. You can use these stations at your own risk, or you can go and run off and do it the other way that we already were expecting you to have to do to safely be able to transit the system, is have your own fuel load being delivered. Or operate off a much larger ship that you can dock in. And the ship, once you get close to whatever your target is, that's when you undock. Pyro system, planet, and mission setup. Once again, this is all telling that this is all getting done. This is a little sooner, at least, system, planet, and mission setup. It's entirely plausible they might roll out the initial fundamental work needed to implement the Pyro system into the game. And it's all set to wrap up at the mid-December. Once again, if they're doing a digital CitizenCon, this would be a great way to introduce CitizenCon, is actually roll out Pyro. Don't give us a tech demo. Roll out Pyro. And it might beat the rest stops. So there's going to be a lot of people trapped with no fuel. But at least it'll be in. I'm glad Tony Z and his crew, please keep fighting the good fight, getting the economy rolled in. That is cool. Yeah, I think that there's a few little wonky things. Like the few times I've been quantum jammed by a mantis or Cuddy Blue, there's been some weird experiences. Like you don't realize what's causing it at first. And I think like a lot of things like pulling you in and out of warp, the customs officials are another good example of that problem. Pirates, actually. I think they need to roll that out a little better. Yeah. And the noise inside the ships, it's kind of all over the place. You're supposed to have in the living quarters less noise from the quantum system. It's supposed to be like designed to like get rid of that noise a little bit, whereas the working parts of the ship are noisier. And on some ships, it's unfortunately not perfect, to say the least. I'm trying to target ones that are active right now, are going to end soon, or coming up. Rivers and roads, that's nice. Once again, with player outpost eventually coming in, that will be very critical. And I'd also like to say that this is something that's already been confirmed for 3.14, is the Connie Taurus. The Taurus is going to be interesting, to say the least. It's going to have internalized cargo, unlike the Raelin. This will have internalized cargo, and it also will likely support a vehicle on that elevator. It has the Constellation has a cargo elevator that brings down most of the cargo, if not all of the cargo. This system will be a nice ship for people who are used to the Connie. They like the Connie styles, and they're looking for a cargo hauler that internalizes the cargo in a Connie's format, size and format, and it also can accommodate a land vehicle when needed. So do bear that in mind. That's what people ask me a few times now. 2 different people have asked me about the Raelin versus the Taurus. The Taurus is for the multi-use. The Raelin is a specialized cargo vessel. The Raelin is really cool. And the price point on the Raelin, especially the Warbomb model, is not bad at all. But that's kind of where my head's at with that. The Taurus will have a place. And by the way, getting a CCU to the Taurus might not be a bad idea, because that price will jump up when that's straight to fly up, when it's flyable. Scorpius coming eventually. I have nothing to say about that thing. It's a nice ship. I like the gun can go from the top to the bottom of the turret. It's a remote turret. It's an interesting ship. It's basically a better Hammerhead. Sorry, Hurricane. Basically a better Hurricane. So we'll see if that's the case when it finally comes, when it starts getting closer. I've learned to kind of withhold judgment on these ships until they get close and then kind of make a call, yay or nay. Ruin Station. So this is the one in Pyro. I called it Lost Station earlier. I apologize. Ruin Station, as you can see, 2022. This is something I think a lot of people are waiting for. Salvage technology. Even if it doesn't include the Reclaimer. 3.16. September 2021. I hope to see it. They describe salvaging as the reverse of mining. That's pretty dang accurate. We'll see how that goes. This is a nice step forward if we can lock the doors on our ships, and then people have to have special hacking tools to get through them. And most importantly, I hope that it lets you know, like there's a tone. If somebody pulls out an ice pick hacking tool and they start trying to hack into your cockpit or something like that, you hear like a tone or something on the other side of the door letting you know, hey, it's time to go, it's time to fight, or I don't know, counter hack or something. I don't know what they're going to end up doing, but that is a valuable tool. I'm glad to see it coming into the game. Sell items back to shops. This is something that should have been done a year ago. Guys, we really do need this. The guys and gals of the backers have been saying for ages, we really need to get more of this, more of the capabilities to put in stuff for sale and be able to do it. And like I said earlier, it should be legit, not legit, and gray area. You know, there should be different layers of that. It should be loot distribution set up in there where you can take the distributed loot and be able to take it back and sell. You know, if you try to sell 50 of the same thing, they give you a hard time, and you may have to negotiate the price down or up. Selling needs to be in very quickly, and it's a shame it's going to take that long for it to be iterated. Distributed load, it's nice. This is that part of that capacitor gameplay that they're trying to roll out, capacitors to a lot of different things. This part is shields. It's cool. And this is part of that system where their SDF signature fielding different shield systems, and now they're actually going to have the emitters where people can knock out and target your shield emitters and break them when they're fighting you. It's fine. It's necessary. We need to get more components in. Blades, something else that needs to come, but we're not quite there yet. I'm not going to comment on it yet. This is something that we probably will see reap a bit of benefits to. If they're talking about vehicles they're working towards multiple teams for Squadron 42, it will be likely that this will roll out to the other, even though it doesn't have the Star Citizen logo next to it. A lot of the lessons that are learned for one type of system are often carried over. It's just for, you know, makes things look a little smoother. This is something that's been guaranteed for 3.14. If you have something bad cargo-wise, they'll stop you. They'll say, "Hey, you got bad thing. If you move, we'll shoot. If you don't move, they'll take you to the jail, and you'll have a less of a jail sentence." Also gives you your ship faster, if not immediately, right after you complete your sentence. I hope that they give you your ship. Instead of making you sit through a gigantic timer, and especially for people that only have like one ship, it would be really rough on them. So it would be nice that, or at the very least, start your insurance claim immediately. So as soon as you surrender, it sends you to the prison, it gives you that reduced sentence, and it also starts the insurance claim either then, like that minute that you got arrested and they transported you over, or that doesn't matter. It's instant. So as soon as you're completed your sentence, you go out, you go to the ASOP terminal, and bam, you can spawn your ship. I hope they figure something else like that out when you're done. At least right now, especially with the way the game is set up. Theaters of War support, I don't know. I've heard a lot of things. These Crossroads of Crime and Theaters of War. There's supposed to be other maps. I don't know. Rumor Mill isn't even hot on that right now, so take it what you will. That's pretty cool. Giving you some history on the wall issues and stuff. And then we get into the fun section. So this area right here, this is a crossbow that was given. It was sold some type of weird crossover promotion. I hope they sell it once it's available. Once it's actually available in game. These unannounced things. So some of these are very exciting because you'll see 18 freaking teams are working on something that's unannounced. And it was supposed to be out a little bit ago, but we're definitely in that area. Here's one. Unannounced vehicle for 2 teams. And this is Star Citizen stuff, by the way. Unannounced vehicle they're working on all the way out to here. All the way out to the end of nearly the end of the year, like the beginning of December. Unannounced vehicle. These are right here prime fodder for unannounced content. These are prime fodder for that Digital Citizen Con and for the yearly sale to really get people amped up and then buy these things or take part in the new content, etc., etc. Unannounced tech. Whenever I see like one team, though, that's usually a dead giveaway that it's either, it could be a ship that's been sitting or a content that's been sitting for a while and they're just doing final steps on it, or doing a golden pass on a ship that didn't even come out yet because it's part of Squadron, for at least at first, or it's a small time thing and don't sweat it too much. But when you see something like this, when you see 16, 18 teams working on unannounced content for 23 weeks, you start getting excited a little bit. It's not something that you can sit there and go, oh, that's nothing. And it's not a coincidence that some of these are going to terminate right around the ship sale and Digital Citizen Con. Broken Moon. Vehicle door improvements. That's a useful thing. And that'll go right along well with that security job that they're also working on. And that's about it. So here's your Exian cargo ship. So this is going to be a big tie-in with the Raelin. So anybody who's thinking the Raelin is going to get rolled out real quick, interior and exterior of approved concepts for the Exian cargo. So I don't know. This seems awfully Raelin related. The Gatak Raelin is a cargo ship. It's an Exian cargo ship. So it probably won't be coming out anytime soon. It'll be first quarter of 2022, likely. I like weapon wear. I like some of these things that, you start seeing wear and tear on on all items, not just weapons. I hope it's not too quick, especially with what we're dealing with. Here's the weapon capacitor. So the capacitor tech's coming online across multiple systems. And the Volt weapons. Okay. So these Volt weapons are like electromagnetic style weapon systems. I am glad to see those being rolled out. From what I heard through the grapevine, these weapons were a little OP at first when they were first being toyed with. I don't know. Enables AI characters use vending machines to purchase food and drink. Once again, that's a nice little immersion factors. It would, for what it's worth, it would be really cool that when they bring out the persistent hangars to allow us to have vending machines purchased and have them sitting out front of the hangar. And, if players or AI use it, you get a small little cut, something. I think that'd be fun. Once again, these small little things you could do. Yeah, I remember when I did the tour of the Jav, they had vending machines inside the ship, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense. If the ship's big enough, it would be cool to have vending machines inside of it. And that might be the first player sales thing that we could have in the game. Something real simple that they already have coded in. Just literally have a slot where you just walk up to it and you can place a machine. It's worth mentioning. I doubt it'll happen, but it's something cool. I'm glad to see it either way. I'm glad to see that the TO probably means tier 0. So at least they'll just work with the machines that are in game. We'll see. Vehicle to vehicle loadout spawning. Enable item ports and cargo grids to support vehicle loading via VMA. ASOP terminals to report vehicle and vehicle statuses. I'm glad to see that. I want to see more ASOP terminal control. I also haven't seen it in this list, but this might be a rumor mill thing. I'm not quite sure. I've heard that they are working on Moby Glass, where you can physically pop open your Moby Glass and spawn a ship, a lot like what you can do now with the ASOP terminals, or exactly like you can do with the ASOP terminals now. That would be a nice quality of life improvement, where you can open up your Moby Glass and do an insurance start. Let's say you blew up. You're respawned in your bed, and you're like, shucks, that sucked. Right? And then suddenly you have to figure out, like, what am I going to do next? Okay, I'm going to go back to the station hangars, or I'm going to go to the planet side. I'm in Lorville. I'm going to go to the port. I'm going to go to the Tisa spaceport. Well, you pop open that Moby Glass, and you file your insurance claim right there, right that minute. So by the time you go shopping, or you go wait for friends to respawn, and you're all kind of caught up, you go grab the tram to the Tisa Spaceport line from Metro Center or whatnot, and you ride over. By the time you get to the spaceport, you either got no time left on your timers, or you are done your timers. And then you simply, by the time you get to near the elevators to where your ship is, you pop open your Moby Glass again, you tell it, hey, I want my ship. You can obviously see which hangar you're going to. You jump on the elevators, you go to your hangar. That would be much more seamless than currently, like, you have to respawn, get yourself over to the spaceport, over through the transportation lines, and then start the wait game there, where it might take, even with expediation, 10 minutes to get your ship back. And that's if you have the creds to be able to get your ship back and pay for the expediation. And also, bigger ships have very long spawn timers in a lot of cases. So especially with how buggy the game is, and about how there's many, many ways to blow up right now, making it simpler for people to be able to get back in the game and have fun and get playing is critical. And I'm glad to see it. Just some thoughts. I kind of did an experimental show today. Figured this was kind of a live discussion and kind of experiencing ISC inside Star Citizen, and then kind of did an impromptu dig through the roadmap and what I'm finding exciting and what to look for in the next few months going into the yearly sale and the Digital Citizen Con that's upcoming. Don't get on the hype train, but there is some exciting things coming up, and I can't wait to see more of Pyro systems being mechanics being put together. I would love to see Nyx and Pyro at the very least rolled out within the next coming 6-month period to maybe a bit further. By the time we're looking at March of 2022, I'd like to see both in the game with much higher player caps to support these systems. Even if we have to switch servers between the systems, I know that's heresy, but and that would bring server meshing at least to a reasonable level. I would like to see the A2. I would like to see that both versions of the Ares in the game very soon, in the next coming 2-3 months. The Taurus is a nice welcome thing. I know a lot of people have the Connie Taurus, and I'd like to see options at the medium class of haulers. I hope Orison, when it's rolled out, it's coming in 3.14, at least the beginnings of it. I hope that Orison can support the largest ships, even though that's not right now that important, believe it or not. The Jav and the whole D and E are not in the game yet, but I would like to at least try to get confirmation that these larger ships will be supported at this location. I think as we see it and get some answers out of the devs over time about what their vision is for the location, we'll get an idea. And it might be pessimistic to say, but if we cannot use these larger capital ships at Orison, what is the value of this additional location without having something unique that really is going for it. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. I'm going to love to tour it and check it out, but I don't see the point of it unless it has something unique. Also, I think it's interesting with Upper Atmo. Another thing that could be unique about it is that it consumes less fuel to get in and out of that atmosphere. But we're going to have to test that and see what is available and get answers from the devs about some of the other things, such as can a Javelin or Hull DE be able to go there? Yes, I'm kind of getting to be a broken record. So I'm going to sum the video up now. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel greatly. And in particular on this type of video, if you could comment, or if you're shy, a few folks so far have reached out to me on Discord, RedJ, #001. I'm always available. I love chatting with folks. And I'll catch you in the next one. You guys have a wonderful day.